Hey, my name's Seb, and Bohemia Interactive just revealed the official roadmap for Arma Reforger. As many of you are aware, Arma Reforger launched in early access in May, and had sort of a rough start. This was mainly due to complex connectivity issues and a lack of playable content. Bohemia Interactive has since then been hard at work on resolving the technical issues and the bugs, and now they're revealing their plans for the future of Arma Reforger. We are gonna go through everything that is planned for Reforger, and we are gonna talk about how this affects the road to Arma 4. Now, Bohemia Interactive plan to release in 3 significant milestone updates. These are ground support, air assault, and final strike. Respectively, BI will release them throughout early access until the 1.0 update, with the first, ground support, being planned to release in the 4th quarter of 2022. In the roadmap, all of the milestones are categorized into assets and features, as well as any update to conflict, which is the main game mode for Reforger. You will see this on all of the images that are displayed. There is a lot to unpack here, so make sure you follow along until the end. Now let's look at the first milestone called ground support. First off, the new assets. We're getting a new terrain. It's called All Land, and it's a 4x4 Baltic island. 4x4 is really small in Arma standards, but there will be a conflict game mode on there, and that is good. I think it will make conflict more dynamic and have a lot more action. Small islands like these are good for smaller PvP, focused game modes, and mod testing, etc. We're getting 2 new weapons with SA58P and V variants. These are probably based on the Czech VZ58 just for comparison. We are getting anti-tank mines, and it says in the features that these will explode vehicles, not just the BTR-80, and what looks like a delayed action where it takes 30 seconds for the fuse to burn before the mine goes off. There will also be a 4x20 Colt optic for the American rifle. Well, so far so good in my opinion. Next, we're getting more medical assets. These are props mainly, but it also says in the features list that there will be more medical items, and that we can bandage individual parts of the body separately. So finally a bit more complexity to the medical system. But as for the first milestone, no real revive option just yet, but hang on because there will be in other updates. The ragdolls will also be improved, so we don't get the same dramatic animation every time. 2 ambulance vehicles will be added, 1 for the Soviets and 1 for the United States. Finally, the last asset we're getting is purely just ambience, but birds will be in the wildlife of Everon and Alan. I do think that's a nice touch. And now for the important features. AI vehicle driving. AI will be able to drive the vehicles present in the game. Furthermore, we're getting commanding, which means we are getting basic commands we can give to a group of AI. This is stuff like move, mount vehicle, and target enemies. The AI will also be able to join and leave groups dynamically. We're getting bipods that can open and close, and the ability to deploy them while in prone. We're also seeing dynamically generated scenarios that are playable in solo or co-op, and many more updates to Game Master. We are also getting a new tool called a protractor. These are mainly used in real life for plotting points on the map, measuring distances, and determining azimuth or angles. Another cool feature is that there are gonna be more destructible props. And finally, in the ground support update, conflict is getting many new updates and features. These include free form building within the base area and an overhaul to how bases are seized. Service updates and more focus on supply management and fighting over supplies on the map will be added. This marks the end of the ground support milestone, but we still have 2 more major updates in the pipeline. And the next one is called Air Assault. Now this is a big one, because the big update here is that we're getting air assets, and mainly the American Huey, the UH-1H, and the Soviet Mi-8 MT, both transport helicopters, and yes, you will be able to fly them. There will be mounted machine guns on board and new flight uniforms and helmets for the pilots. For gear and weapons, Bohemia are adding a heavy machine gun, namely the NSV 12.7 caliber Soviet Beast, a handheld flare gun which will make night ops more variable and fun, and a lot more ballistic protection with vests and helmets. A new optic for the Soviet rifle, as well as bayonets and suppressors. That's right, you will be able to attach suppressors to your weapons. Some new big features are coming to this milestone update as well. In this milestone update, Revive will be added, making the medical gameplay of Arma Reforger much better and enabling many communities to play in line with what they're used to in Arma 3. Next up is a really cool feature, namely electricity. There should be a full electric grid network on the islands, meaning buildings will have interior lighting, buildings and transformers and lights are then connected to the sources, and these sources can be manipulated or disrupted or repaired. I know what you're thinking. This will lead to some pretty epic cool stealth missions. Furthermore, there will be more updates to Game Master and Conflict with some new features, and we're getting a fuel system update so you can refuel vehicles. Moving on to the final milestone called Final Strike. I'm gonna start with vehicles. We're getting 4 new vehicles, a BRDM, an LAV-25, a Skoda civilian car and a flatbed truck. The helicopters are also getting weapon systems. For weapons and gear, we're getting some light artillery with mortars that can be operated by players and AI. For features, we are looking at building destruction with a simple and advanced system. We are also getting explosive charges, they are always useful, and BI is also updating the dynamically generated scenario content. They will also add even more upgrades to Game Master and Conflict. And after all of these milestone updates, both of these game modes will be really complex and really fleshed out. One feature I'm really looking forward to is being able to share saved Game Master scenarios with other friends. When all of these milestones are complete, Arma Reforger will look like a really strong game in my opinion. Issues like connectivity and bugs in a game like this, while still in early access, will be fleshed out over time, and it's obvious to me that Reforger is not just a tech demo for something else, but it's given much love and support going forward. Dishing out all of these milestone updates will take time, but maybe this will give many out there an incentive to try out and play Arma Reforger. Now let's talk about what all of this means for Arma 4. It is true that many of the assets and features that are implemented into Arma Reforger we will probably see again in some capacity in Arma 4. So it is clear that for Bohemia Interactive, it is very important that the player base play and test out all of the content for Arma Reforger. It is highly likely that it is directly going to be used as learning and development for Arma 4. The more successful Arma Reforger is, the better Arma 4 will be at launch. When I look at these milestone updates and some of the features that are new, I'm very hopeful. Things like proper logistic systems and a fully-fledged electricity grid for cities and towns that can be manipulated has never been a thing in Arma before, and with the new Infusion engine, the doors are wide open to new advances in gameplay. You can take out a power to a town before moving in with mechanized infantry. You can add logistical elements to your missions to give the scenarios more tactical importance and depth. Bohemia is simply not putting out Reforger and leaving the project to work on something else. Arma Reforger is an important step towards the foundation of Arma 4, and playing it and giving feedback directly to them will in the future bring us, the end users, a better experience in the long run. You can check out every detail about the roadmap in the description, I will make sure to link it there. Now, what do you think about the roadmap and the assets and features that are planned for Reforger? Or what do you think it means for Arma 4? Make sure to leave a comment and a like on the video. If you're not subscribed, please consider it, and we will cover everything Arma platform going forward. That's all from me. From me to you, stay safe.